I'm Gary Erickson.
And I'm Tyler Hogue.
We became best buds through the heavy music scene.
And now we're doing a podcast, breaking down our favorite bands, albums, and shows.
This is All Consuming Podcast. My dude, we're going to talk about Norma Jean today.
That's right, Norma Jean. Love Norma Jean. We're talking about the band, right?
What else are we talking about?
I don't know.
Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson?
Isn't that her real name?
Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, that one.
Marilyn Manson's the beautiful people.
No. Marilyn Monroe. That's her real name, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Have you ever seen them in concert?
Have I ever seen Norma Jean live? No, I have not. Have you?
I thought you did.
No.
You totally saw.
Oh my gosh, I did. Yeah, I did. Oh, okay.
Because you brought it up in the past, and I was like, oh man. So I have never seen Norma Jean.
Sorry, guys. I'm fully vaccinated, so I'm losing my brain. Absolutely, yeah. I've seen them live. I saw them live in the Tri-Cities
with
my buddy Isaac, who you guys know, came on to the Christmas special. Yeah, it was a pretty sweet show. The place we saw them at, it no longer exists. No longer exists. It was an awesome, like, you
Wait,
could
is this
write,
because of COVID it doesn't exist, or is this because of...
Super sad. The dude that owns it got ran over and killed. This is pre-COVID.
Whoa. Mm-hmm.
And they closed up shop. It was a Chinese food restaurant by day. Yes. And at night, they had shows. And so when I was in high school, the very first shows I went to that were like, you know, anything other than like NSYNC in an arena were at Ray's Golden Lion in Richland, Washington. Chinese food restaurant by day, get some Kung Pao chicken, then at night stay and get in a mosh pit. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, I saw Norma Jean there.
That's cool. What other bands did you see with them?
Oh, dude, I can't remember. Gosh. You think I would have prepped for this?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're getting warmed up here.
We're just getting warmed up.
It's been a while since we recorded, you know, so.
It has. And that show was pretty dope, though. Like, I remember, like, thinking, I'm a little too old to get in the pit, especially, you know, like, this is a venue that, like, high school kids go to. It's not, you know, and obviously Norma Jean fans, like, that are there are going to be our age or a little bit older. But I was like, I'm not going to get in the pit. I'm going to have some drinks and just sit at the table, you know, away from the pit. But the thing is, like, the table, it's hard to explain how close the pit is to the tables. We're talking about one level. It is a bar, like a dive bar. Okay? And so within 20 feet of the tables, you have kids doing karate kicks, you know, and mosh pits and stuff. And so me and Isaac, we're like, dude, we're chilling. We're not going into the pit. And then all of a sudden they started playing like stuff from Redeemer, you know, and started playing like some of their old stuff. And I remember them playing in the end, all things will be televised. And Tonight the South is on fire. That part, that breakdown. I remember I was like, I gotta go. I have to literally get up, and it made me rise. I think like Isaac and I like actually levitated. We're like, tonight the South is on, and we're like levitating to the pit, and we stayed there the rest of the time. We somehow, you know, it's so small, and there wasn't a ton of people there, but we ended up being in the front basically the whole time. After
That's awesome.
That, yeah, very memorable show, even though I didn't remember it 5 minutes ago.
I'll never forget that show, except for earlier when I forgot about it.
Exactly. I saw also at Ray's Golden Lion, the Chinese food restaurant, saw Project 86 there. And I think those were the last two bands I saw at Ray's before it closed down.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll transition us. So we're going to talk about All Hail.
Yeah.
So the past few episodes I've been doing this thing where I kind of talk about the lineup and kind of give a brief summary of the band and the producer and stuff. And I don't know. I hope people like it. I like doing it because that's one of the things I do when I really get into a band. I start to look at, who's the drummer, who's the guitarist, what other bands have they been in, you know, is there a reason I really like this song or this album? And it's usually because, oh, that's the same guy that was in that one band I really liked.
Yeah.
So here goes my deets, my details.
Deets.
All Hail is the 8th studio album that they've released, which I didn't know there's that many. That's kind of crazy.
So 2019, right? Like, this was right before COVID.
The vid. Yep.
This is the vid. And I know I'm just like interrupting you, but like we were going to see these dudes.
We totally were.
We totally were.
April, I think.
And everything got shut down in March.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was so upset. So upset.
Yeah.
I'm still upset. But I think we were going to see them with Silent Planet.
Yeah. We came as Romans? No, that was a different
one.
one.
No, that was a different one. Man, it was going to be a great year
too.
of tours, man. It was going to be.
Gosh. When's it going to get better?
Like,
when are we going to have this opportunity to go see bands? Because thinking about, like, what shows are, right? Like, you can't keep distance from people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you try, you put, like, X's on the floor where you can stand.
Dude, they need those big bubble balls that you get inside of for the pit. And then everyone's just kind of stuck. They can't move.
Just a circle pit of people like hamster balls running around.
Exactly.
That's a great image. Yeah, man, I'm dying to go see a show live. Like, I don't even know, like, the last time I heard live music, outside of like church on Sunday.
Dude, I don't know. This is a rabbit trail. We're talking about Norma Jean, and I'm doing my deets. And
True.
You just derailed
8
me.
studio albums.
Yeah.
You didn't realize there were that many. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going,
released
bro.
on Solid State Records. Released October 25th, 2019. So right at the end of the year, we were going to see them fresh in 2020.
Yeah.
This time I'm going to start with the producer. His name's Will Putney, and boy, has he made some bangers.
Okay.
I didn't write the albums.
Oh, here we go.
But
I'm ready.
I'll just say the bands that this guy, he either mixed, engineered, produced, mastered, composed, played guitar.
Okay.
So sometimes he fills in. So Norma Jean, obviously.
Yep.
Silent Planet.
Okay.
I think like the last 2 Silent Planets. My Children, My Bride's the last one. Gideon, a couple of them.
Which ones?
Calloused
Old
and
or
Cold,
new?
I think.
Okay.
Middle.
All right. Respectable.
Wolves at the Gate, newer.
Okay.
Darkness Divided. They weren't that popular, and they broke up before I think they should have.
Yeah.
For Today, like their last 3.
Oh.
Like Immortal and up.
Okay.
I think. War of Ages, Fit for a King, Impending Doom's newer ones, Demon Hunter, and Haste the Day.
So every band that we like.
Exactly. Like this guy is like, I feel like I could be buddies with this guy.
But
he's done a ton of stuff too, right? Not just Christian metalcore. Like he's
Sure.
all over. So in reverse order of this year,
Mm-hmm.
the last one he worked on was A Day to Remember, his newest one that just dropped.
Okay.
The Ghost Inside, Body Count, 4 Years Strong, Fit for an Autopsy, Counterparts, Stray from the Path, Thy Art is Murder, After the Burial, and then Norma Jean, All Hail. And here we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good
So
stuff.
if you guys see Will Putney as a producer, it's probably going to be something you like. It's our genre of metalcore, whatever range that is. From that list of bands we just named, like we just hit so many different styles and sounds.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Moving on to the lineup, Corey Brandon, last name Putman, goes by Corey Brandon. He's the vocals, guitar, and bass in studio. Jeff Hickey does guitar and bass. Grayson Stewart does guitar and bass. Matt Marquez does drums and auxiliary percussion. And Matthew Putman does drums and percussion, production, engineering, and songwriting. Fun fact.
Brothers? Oh,
Brothers.
Interesting.
And back in the
I
day,
didn't know that.
they were in Living Sacrifice together for a few years.
Whoa.
So if you like the hammering process, they were both in it. So interesting stuff. So, but I don't think his brother is like a touring member. I think he was just there to help record this album. But in some interviews, he said that there's a lot of chemistry between them, and they've really, hit a few songs in stride on this album, and I think that really shows.
All right, sweet. Let's dive into All Hail.
All right, track number 2, Mind Over Mind. Angle brackets on the outside.
That's right.
Everything on this album is like, weird. Yeah. Mind Over Mind. I think it's lyrically abstract. It's hard to understand. But Tyler, how about you start us off? I have a pretty good list of things to talk about. I'm sure you do too.
All right. So if you fast forward to 14 seconds, the beginning of the song.
Wait? Why don't you just wait for 14 seconds?
Okay, wait 14 seconds. And Corey comes in and he says, "Give it death till it comes alive." And like the guitar hits and it's like da na 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 na, and you will be doing like air punches, like Tim Lambesis' signature air punches when he like sings and stuff. Like you got that going for you because like this is a nasty, awesome rock riff. Give it death till it comes alive.
Yeah, I wrote at 14 seconds, pissed off bees. Buzz, 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 buzz.
Pissed off bees. I think those are called hornets at that point.
Okay.
Dude, but you're right though. Like this is like the tone of the guitar is sick, and it just is a groove, like rock beat. You know what I mean? Like, and I love how he starts like singing or screaming over it too. It's awesome. Love it.
So, in the first chorus, after he goes off, after that riff, and there's a verse, and then there's the first chorus, he does this thing, and I mentioned that they give space in this album. I said it in the intro, but it's not like quiet space. It's like it gives the opportunity for something else to be louder.
Yeah.
There's a part where he says, "Give it death till it comes and then he stops, and you hear like a chug, 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 and he's like, live.
Oh,
yeah. So awesome.
Yeah.
Just like how he stops and lets that guitar make that sound, and then he continues with the lyrics. Yeah, I love that part.
Gosh, it's so good. I think, too, like the verses, especially when it's like he's talking about the lyric, and so we started all over again. It's so like vintage Norma Jean. Like, so if you listen to the verses, like especially that part, the way it's sung, like for me, like it just brought back like Redeemer, like vibes for sure. And I don't think there's a ton of that on this album, but those verses like for sure brought me back to those albums, and I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds like old Norma Jean a little bit, but then it goes into the da na 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 na. Yeah.
So most of this album, I think we're gonna say, like, the lyrics are tough. Like, if you're really trying to dig into these and try to understand what it's about, even if you look at Corey Brandon's explanation of each song, there is an interview where he gives like a paragraph for each song.
Yeah.
It still doesn't help you. Okay, like we tried. Like I think his paragraphs all together, if you take everything he said about every song, you get like a good feel of the entire album, but not for that specific song.
Yes.
But the one thing I really like about this album is that there's just these lines or words or sentences that, like, with the way he says them, that it's just like they stick out. And every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, there's that part. I love that. Like, why is he saying it? I don't know, but it's awesome. So I wrote down a couple of my favorite lines from this song. And the first one is, he says, history is unpredictable. History is unpredictable. It's the future that is just the way he says it, it sticks out.
You know, that's the opposite I tell my kids. I'm a history teacher. This is the opposite I tell my kids. I say, like, history, like, repeats itself all the time. Like, you see history, and it's bound to happen again.
History is predictable.
If we don't learn from history, we're bound to repeat it, is what I say. And, like, Norma Jean's, like, out here just, like, proving me wrong.
Are they proving anything? Like,
they're proving that they've got some sick riffs. And there's obviously, like, no matter what, there's intentions for songs, you know? And, like, we might not know the exact intention, even with some explanation. But a lot of what we get from these songs, you know, I don't think, for me at least, with Norma Jean, it's not a ton of, like, the lyrical content, you know? There's definitely songs that lyrically the content's awesome, and we can talk about the meaning a lot, but especially like Mind Over Mind, I was like, I definitely want to talk about Mind Over Mind because of the guitar riffs, because of the way he delivers the breakdown towards the end when he says a quiet weapon for a peaceful kill. Like, oh my gosh. Yep. The way he screams yeah in the chorus, like, it's awesome. It's just so well done, and it's unique. And it goes, like, we're going to say this throughout the entire episode. This is something different, right? Different in a good way. Like, this whole album as a whole. And it's just awesome, man. It's just, gosh, it's just, like, really well-developed riffs. And I think he even said it in that interview we were talking about. He's like, it's just a bunch of, like, awesome rock riffs put together. Like, Mind Over Mind is a great song. And I absolutely get grooving when I hear that breakdown at the end. And I know I kind of mentioned it before, but this breakdown makes you move.
That was one of the lines I wrote for my favorite lines. A quiet weapon for a peaceful kill.
I think what I love a lot about the vocals of Norma Jean is just the way they deliver them. Like, you wouldn't think that they could, like, say them the way they do so powerfully behind the music, but man, it's powerful. And I think, like you were saying, it's that space. Yeah. It's that space they create to allow the music to highlight the vocals, or the vocals highlight the music, whatever. It's pretty awesome. All right, the third track on All Hail, Safety Last, might be, Gary, my favorite song.
It might be, Gary? Oh, it might be your favorite song.
It might be my favorite song on the entire album. And there's a lot of reasons why. I think number one, just like the music, the way that, like, I get some like the vibes of, like, the repeating of the chorus, the pray for this, like, those vibes, like, I love, like, that Norma Jean, like, straight up, they've done this their whole time. They scream it all these different ways, they sing it all these different ways, and I absolutely love it. The song ends with it, it's the chorus, like, I don't know. I think this song is super dynamic.
Okay. Yep.
And I don't know, like, what do you think, man?
So I do like the chorus. He just says, pray for this, like, 12 times. And the chorus runs, like, 4 times. Yeah. But the way he says it, you know, it's not, like, repeated. He says it differently every time. I think, so, I mean, I really like the song. When it came out, I'm pretty sure it was a single. And this song is what made me, like, excited for this album.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm ready. I can do this album. Like, this is going to be great. And I liked the ones before, but they weren't, like, something that hooked me. And I feel like this one's a little bit more catchier.
Definitely.
It's easier to remember.
Yes.
So I do love the bridge before the breakdown, where he's like, you know, just take a moment here and introduce yourself. And he's like, no, truly, can you introduce yourself? And he's like, love laughs.
That part is so awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Love it. I hope we don't keep my voice in there and we put the actual audio.
We got to
in.
put the actual song because we're not doing our listeners justice. Because, oh man, the way he says it, you're right. It is just filthy. Absolutely filthy. Dare I say, goosebump worthy. But I wrote down like the first lyric of the song. I just love how it comes in hard. And he just says, I'll burn every bridge in the world. Yep. That's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on like what this song means lyrically? I'm interested in hearing this.
So a lot of these songs,
Yeah.
most of these songs, trying to understand what he means is like really hard.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like when people write songs that like you read the lyrics and you're like, what is he talking about? Like you just want to know. And I think that allows it, I think it makes it more of an art, and it allows it to be open to interpretation. And maybe a sentence or a breakdown or a chorus or something, you know, whether you're Christian or not, you're going to hear it and you're going to picture it or hear it one way, and it'll be different because he kept it so ambiguous. And I like that. I do. But also at the same time, I really like the direct lyrics. So my thoughts on this song, I think that this song is about someone who is trying to come in and, quote unquote, save them. Yeah. And he says things like, I am the wreck that you've been waiting for. Like, I'm this horrible person you've been searching for to save, right? He also says a line like, I am infinitely bankrupt again. And he says things like, aid to ruin, helping something in ruin, is even more ruin. You're not helping anything. You're making it worse. And he says, rush in, be a savior to us all, and I'll believe every word. Right? Like, I'm going to believe every word you're going to say. But then he kind of turns it with the bridge, with the breakdown that we really like, where he says, you know, take a moment and introduce yourself. No, really, introduce yourself. And he says, loveless. And then he keeps saying, introduce yourself, loveless. Like, it's obviously out of pride. And it's not out of love. And it's self-seeking, and that's why it's so destructive. And I think he's like introducing themselves like they're the ones here to help you. Look how awesome that they are. But then it turns to him saying, so in the previous verse, he would end it with, I'll believe every word. He says, damn, every damn word. And then he changes it to, I'll disbelieve every damn word. And it's like, you come in with all these good intentions and I believe you. And then you, like, as the one you're trying to save, they see that this is not really what you're here for. You're not here to help me. You're here to make yourself look better. And he's like, now I'm going to disbelieve everything that you have to say.
Because of that.
And my thought is about their Christian faith. And they're like, I'm a Christian. I'm here to save you. You're all sinners, whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm listening. And then it's like, oh, self-seeking, self-glorifying. Now I disbelieve everything that you say, and I discredit everything about your faith and religion. And I think that was my like overall thought. And then I read his like explanation of it with like his trip to Hungary and whatever, and I was like, that's what I got. Maybe out
not. Of it. You know, but I think there's a lot to be said there. Like, even for people that are Christians, right? But a lot of Christians or non-Christians that I talk to, their biggest issue with Christianity, it always comes back to people being hypocrites. No matter what, like they have experienced some sort of, you know, thing with Christians or the church or whatever in their past, or what they see or what they perceive, and they say, these people say one thing and they do another. How could I ever trust any word that comes out of their mouth when they're doing these things that they say they don't do? They preach one thing but do another. But another part of this song that I absolutely love that we haven't talked about yet is the end. And it's the kind of the repeat of the chorus where he's like, pray for this, pray for this. But when he says the nightmare is fictional, real. Oh my gosh, that part is just awesome. I freaking love it.
I really like how that. So so right when he does that, he like repeats the chorus too, and he just like says, "Pray for this, pray for this, pray for this."
Yeah.
Fictional, real, whatever. The last time he says the chorus and he says, "Pray for this," I love the way he like screams it, and he's like low, and he's like this, and it builds up, and the whole ending is just like this big like, I don't know, it just keeps climbing. The whole song just keeps getting like louder and angrier, and then it just ends. But yeah, great ending.
Yeah, and I think that's like the best part about the vocals of Norma Jean. And we've said this before. Their delivery of vocals of lyrics they've already said, they don't say it the same way.
Yep.
Right? So they say pray for this how many times?
Per chorus, 12. They probably say it like 60 times.
Yeah, and I feel like they say it in so many different ways, which is really phenomenal. Just the delivery of these vocals are great, and the end of the song, it ends with your favorite lyrics for this song.
What's in? What's out?
What's out? What's in? Yeah, but no, this is a great song. I enjoy it. I think it is my favorite song on All Hail. I spin this thing so many times.
Mm-hmm. So Tyler, let's start talking about Landslide Defeater.
Let's do it.
So this song came out as a single, and I was so stoked. Like, I could not believe my ear holes. I'm a little bit upset that out of all the songs on the album, this is still my favorite song.
Why are you upset?
like when the best thing comes as a single, and then
yeah.
it takes like a month for the album to come out, and you're just like, yes, I can't wait to see what tops the single.
Right.
For me, nothing topped this song.
Oh, okay.
Some are close, but I mean,
so this is your peak song.
Yes.
On the album. All right.
Yeah, I love it. But I feel like before I go, do you want to say something? You want to go?
There's a lot I love about this song. The guitar tone, like throughout the first verse and like part of the second verse, is that tone that I just really love from All Hail that we're going to talk about continually through this. Like, it's just phenomenal. But then it gets to like a minute 30, minute 35, somewhere around there, and it gets that clean guitar picking, it's like a clean little guitar, and it gives me vibes, and you might not get this, it gives me vibes of Memphis Will Be Laid to Waste.
Huh.
I really like that because they do change it up, a lot, but like this is a great example of like how dynamic they can be.
Well, I feel like even though it's calm, you can tell stuff's about to happen.
Something's about to happen. Yes.
Yeah, stuff's about to go down.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so I mean from this point on, from that clean guitar, calm part of the song, it builds up and it doesn't really come back down. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Before we get to where you're wanting to go, because I really want to
you know where I want to go.
People that know this song are like, we know where you guys are going. So something I didn't really know about the song that I found out for this episode, Corey Brandon's intention of it is the song is about what a world must be like to live in that needs a hero, right? How bad is your world that you need a hero? And that's like the whole energy to this song.
Yeah.
And I really like the chorus, how he says, it's like I said, whoa, to you. Like, I never caught that the to you was a whoa to you. Like,
me too. I thought the whoa was like WOAH. Whoa, like you hear in all those songs, but it's WOE, like woe to you.
Well, I think, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. The way he says it, you're like, whoa, like singing along, like, yeah, that's catchy, but he's like saying like, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how he does that. It makes it really catchy the way, because he like does that scream thing, right? He doesn't really sing it. Huh. So, I guess I will lead us into the part that we're building into.
Oh yeah. Everyone knows we're going there.
So you were saying that, the drums with like the chill guitar that's like picking, that you're like, it's calm, but you still feel this energy. And I think it's because of the drums. The drums are keeping the tempo up, but the guitar's like, be cool, guys, be cool. But I love the way he kind of shouts. I will say it, he sings it, where he's like, cover your hands so the world won't burn so bad.
Yeah.
Cover your head so the world won't feel so cold. Break the world in half so the ground won't shake so hard. And then like silence. And then it just slowly builds back up and you hear this. Oh my god.
Yeah, what is that click?
Is it a shotgun shell?
That's what I thought. Like a gun click.
I don't know. Like you just hear like click and he's like,
yeah,
so,
guitar slides.
Sound.
Oh, awesome.
Dude, that guitar sound, I'm 90% sure they use a freaking huge knife.
That would be sweet.
I was watching a YouTube video with that, what's his name? Eric,
yeah,
the producer guy from, I mentioned him earlier. It was like his studio doing like them recording this song. And he talked about like how awesome it was using a knife to record. And I'm like, what? And he's like, just to get those really get produced sounds that you really want, like they wanted a guitar slide, but they wanted it to sound so clear and so mean.
So they actually did use a knife.
Yeah. So it didn't have any audio, but you saw the guy holding this gigantic knife across all the strings and just sliding it up the guitar. And I'm like, what?
See, I would have bet money it was a pick, but then again, like you said, if you want like a straight up like sound like that, it's got to be a freaking
metal
big pick.
Sound.
Yeah,
metal blade. But yeah, so I think that's the part of this album where they do that. I can't think of anywhere else it would be. That way you can get, because with the knife blade, you're gonna get very precise, tone and sliding across the chord. You're gonna get like.
That might be the most metal thing we've talked about on this podcast.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's cool.
But anyway, that breakdown to pulverizing.
Oh,
nuts.
My gosh, yeah.
Love it. I love how he even, he says it like twice and he's like, forever without end. And that guitar that's like, beedly doodly doodly doo.
Yeah.
And then it's like when I first heard that as a single, that part made me like pause it, rewind, and I'm like, I have to focus on what is happening right now.
Yeah.
And like I replayed that guitar like diddle 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 diddle, and just amazing. Blew my ears right off.
Yeah, it's so good. And I think the build up to it is what makes it so great, because you just throw it into another piece of the song where it's not as dynamic. It's not that build up, quiet, calm guitar. It's maybe doesn't stand out like it does, but like him singing those lyrics that you read right before and that calm guitar and the drums kind of pushing it makes this like just out of this world. It is
anytime
so great.
Someone says pulverizing, it's like pulverize the steak before you cook it, and you're like, Norma Jean, got it. I don't like. There's just like some songs, like you just always associate. Some words that you always associate with a song, and for the rest of my life, the word pulverize will mean Norma Jean, landslide defeater.
Absolutely. So let's transition to the next song, track 7, with errors.
Backslash with underscore errors.
Backslash underscore HTML rules, dude.
That's not HTML, dude.
Oh, it's not?
Oh, it's like a.
What is HTML?
Like
MySpace
has like
stuff?
square brackets,
Yeah.
Gosh, Tyler, man.
Isn't that what you do? Isn't that just coding? Isn't HTML just coding?
Sure. HTML is hypertext markup language. So technically it is a language. But no, if you can code in HTML, you can't say you can code. It's not the same thing.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. But Norma Jean, this song with errors /HTML, this song is awesome. Absolutely love this song. I think it's their most played song on this album, right? Like 2 million plays.
Yeah.
Which is a ton. It's a pretty popular song, and I get it. I get why it's super popular. There's some awesome riffs in this song. Some parts that are like more rocky, I guess, than like metalcore. But overall, there's some really cool stuff. So, what are your initial thoughts like on this song?
Well, where to begin? So I'll start with the beginning.
Okay.
I got some big, bold statements for you.
Oh,
I've been holding on
ready.
to this for days.
I'm ready.
So, 55 seconds in,
Yes.
the song heavily reminds me of POD.
I have that written down. Where
No,
like the
you don't.
guitars. Yes, I do. I swear. I swear. Where the guitars are like there's like a delay on the like picking the guitars behind it, kind of. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe?
During the verse.
Yeah, because there's like a tone of the guitar that's very like POD satellite.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
wow, 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 wow. But not only that, the drums are very Youth of the Nation.
I could see that. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. And I said it's
Dude,
like main.
Tyler, we
Yeah.
should run a podcast together. What
What
do you
if
think
we-
alike?
What if me and you, two best buds, put together a podcast where we talked about music in the Christian heavy scene?
Dude, let's do it.
No, but seriously though, it's like the verse, and we'll put this in here. We got to. The verse is like mainstream rock. Definitely has that POD, but not mainstream now. It was like mainstream early 2000s.
Yeah, yep.
You know, it has that kind of feeling to it, and I don't mind it. Like, it's a little bit different, but that's only in the first verse it happens.
Yep. Yeah, I never hear it again. Like the drums do the like dooga dooga ch,
Yes.
dooga dooga ch, and you're like we are. But then he comes in all distorted with his mic. His mic's all distorted and stuff, and then the guitar comes in, and you're like bow wow 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 wow.
Yeah.
You're like, is this POD? Is this a cover song?
And when they get to the second verse, because that happens during the first verse, when it gets to the second verse, it is picked up. It is not that same tone of guitars. It's just different. It's just that first verse, and it totally reminds me of that. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. We'll put it in. It'll be great.
Got it.
So that kind of leads me to the other part that I like. So I just think the chorus is like breakdown worthy. Like, I feel like every chorus is just so well sang, and the guitar riffs are just so heavy that it's just a lot of fun just to listen to the chorus. When usually to me the choruses are like the first time you hear it, you're like sweet, and if they don't change every time, it gets kind of boring. And I think Norma
Yes.
Jean does a great job of hitting the chorus with like a different tempo or a different way of singing or a different drum beat. Like, they're pretty good at that. But yeah, the whole chorus is just super catchy. The whole break bread with the ally adversary,
Yeah.
And just I could sing the whole thing. It's stuck in my head right now. I can hear it.
When it hits, man, it's just like break bread with the like that part. You're so right.
And he
It's a
sings
breakdown.
high. He's like, yeah, high and low. Like, his voice is just on it.
And it's different because track 6 before this, full circle under a minute, like that chorus is, in my opinion, like it's just like you were saying. It's a chorus that's like, wow, this isn't the best part of the song. I see it's kind of catchy the way it's sang, but with airs, you could argue that the chorus is absolutely the best part of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the way, like
Yeah.
you said, it's sung, and the guitars behind it are just, it's heavy, it's full. It's not like sludgy or grungy, but it's like a full guitar, sound behind it, and it's heavy. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I love how he's like all of you and everything and and what I really like. So I never really paid attention until we decided to do this for the podcast, when I'm actually like listening and trying to I like to hear the singing and hear the guitar separately and hear the drums. But I noticed that the guitars, they do like a downstroke and an upstroke strum, like with their boom and then a wah. Every time he says "and," it's like a higher note. It's like wah, and so he's like "and everything wah." It's just constant So the guitars are like singing the chorus too, and I think that's what really helps it too, because you're like not only do you hear it vocally, you feel it musically. And
yes. And they're just Norma Jean's just we've said this before and we'll keep saying it, like the way they deliver their vocals. They could have the most meaningless words or abstract words, but the way they say it, right? If you were just to read "break bread with the ally adversary," but the way they deliver these words it's phenomenal. I actually, going back, that tone that we talked about, POD, does come back one more time.
No.
Yes, it does. It comes back in that bridge
where
everything dies down, kind of. Just there's the guitar part. It comes after that breakdown, which is a pretty sweet breakdown. It gets really low. Those drums kind of start again.
Where it gets super quiet.
Super quiet. You're an enemy of speech. Yeah. It says your legacy is a furnace spawning generations. Pause. And screams of hell. Oh my gosh, that part is awesome.
Wait, where's the POD sound?
Right before that. At least it has that same guitars that it has that we were talking about.
I have a note that I didn't know the answer to, and I didn't know if I'd bring it up, but now I'm going to.
Do it. Yeah.
There is a bridge where there's this guitar riff that I'm like, what is that? And to me, it reminded me of playing Road Rash as a kid.
No idea what that is.
On the Sega Genesis. It's like that motorcycle game where you have a chain and you can hit the other motorcycles. And I hope some listeners have played Road Rash. And
Road Rash? I've never heard of that.
It's got all the old metal music in it. Back
really?
in the 90s and 80s.
I never had a Sega.
Okay.
I had a PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for years, man. It's
Road
known
Rash?
because it's not just a street racing game, you also have to hit the other bikers and you hit jumps, and it's 2-dimensional, right? So you're driving forward and the map is rolling towards you.
Yeah.
That kind of arcade game. But there's tons of music in that game.
Okay.
Right? And I just couldn't figure out what it is. But now you're telling me maybe it's a POD riff.
I don't know if no, it's not a POD riff.
It's drums?
It just has No, it just has that same tone. It's completely different than that first verse.
Right.
But it goes back to that tone that you also hear in mainstream rock from the early 2000s. I think of Godsmack and other bands we're kind of doing that. No. Not Smash Mouth. Different song.
Not that mainstream?
No, not that mainstream. I'm talking about not pop, rock, or you could say mainstream metal or whatever it is, but it just has that delayed guitar sound, where it's almost gosh, it's like POD. I mean, it's the best way to explain it. But that bridge that just goes from super low, super quiet to where he screams of hell, and then just like we were saying, the breakdown hits, but it's not a breakdown, it's the chorus.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
And it's just boom, break bread, and it's just wow, that is super cool part. And you just get with that chorus. Oh, I love all the way from that chorus to the end of the song is just top notch, chef's kiss.
So I think that will lead us into the 9th track, Translational.
That's right.
And I will start off by talking about how much I really like this song. So I'm
right.
kind of sad that Spotify, this is like their like 8th in plays, total plays, and I was very surprised because I really like it. So what I like about this song is it kind of has 3 speeds, and
For sure.
and those 3 speeds like they replay themselves, So it goes from like the first gear to second gear to third gear, and then it restarts at 1. And the way it starts, it's a very quiet, like calm, ambient type intro. And as it goes on, the music builds. Like I think the drums come in a little bit, and then he just starts like chanting, like this. What was it? The non-dimensional pull. And it's like a chant. It's in the background. It's
the
ambient. It's
one-dimensional eye.
Exactly. And it's really weird, right? It's like
super weird. Yeah.
Repeated thing. It's like this noise. It's like not a song yet. But then it moves on to the second speed, I'll call it, where Corey's voice really like punches through, and the chant is still going in the background, but like he starts off with like just like a low-lying black cloud. It's like the normal Corey, Norma Jean singing voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of where the song really starts, but it takes like a minute to get there.
It does. It is a long intro.
Yeah, it's like I feel like they're really trying to set the mood. Like they're
this
trying to get
is
you to
progressive,
be like,
super progressive. I'm thinking of like Wrongdoers, and there's, I can't really think of what song it is right now. But it's kind of progressive, but at least for that one, it's like progressive in a way that's like, it starts off with like just this like heavy, just kind of like riff, but that's it. But then everything builds into it. This is like all the way down to super quiet, almost ambient sounds, right? And then it just builds and builds, and finally we get to the chorus, and the chorus hits, and it's like, boom, it punches you. You have that like the next speed where it goes, and the guitars behind it are super heavy. It's kind of like a mainstream, maybe rock chorus, but like heavy.
Yeah, I like the way, like in the verses, it's like this build all the way up, right?
Yes,
and even the chanting is still going on in the background, and he's singing, but man, he just jumps in and yells, "Deliver me!"
Yeah, I like after the chorus, and it does go back down. It goes from that high speed, like a lot of like Norma Jean songs or metalcore songs or whatever. They'll build, and then it'll just be like on fire. The rest of the songs are just like get going, get moving, keep moshing. But this just keeps like going up and down, and then they go back down to that like kind of ambient, a little bit sound.
He jumps back to speed 1.
Goes right back to speed 1. But what I really like about verse 2, you have like in the middle, like smack dab in the middle, when he says submit the hand, it's like this, it shouldn't even fit there.
Yep.
The tone of the guitar comes, that heavy guitar that's in the chorus, like comes out of nowhere and just sludgy when he says submit the hand. And it's like, whoa, okay, we're going to jump back into this.
You think you're coming, yeah.
And no, we go back down. Yeah, it's pretty. I really like that part though, because it's like that teaser. Something.
Yeah, it's like it's about to be a bridge, but it's not long enough, and then there's no chorus. It's just like boom, verse 2.2. It's
exactly.
Like
2.2. That's it.
Yeah, I like the way he does that. So I was mentioning earlier in another song that there's parts of Norma Jean, because their lyrics are just so unique. I'll say. Where like you just hear certain things and like you pick them out, right? And we were just talking about it with errors, maybe. Anyway, and there's a line in this song that whenever like the way he sings it, man, it just sticks out, and like I just can hear it so well, and I like it a lot. But he says, "You care about countless and such careless things, precarious enemy," and like he like sings it, and like I don't know, like the first day I heard this song, I could hear that clearly, and I could be like, oh, that's translational. Like I hear that, you know, just sticks out.
Absolutely. And there's some other lyrics in here that I really like. But for me, like the one thing that reminds me of translational, do you know?
The breakdown.
Burn, baby, burn. No, like, okay. For something to build, like this song that has to build, right? Like, it has to build to something, and it builds to this breakdown that is unreal. Because, like, there's a good 3 to 5 seconds. 5 might be too much. I might be exaggerating.
Dude, the silence
of just silence. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's like the second speed, and then it's like building up and it just stops, and then it like downshifts.
There's something in the background though. I don't know. I want to say synth, but I don't know if it's really a synth or whatever it is.
Ambient guitar amp noise.
And it's just going like quietly, and then all of a sudden he takes this deep like inhale. And he's like, "Burn, baby, burn." Yeah, catalyst, give her a face on fire with you.
It's so slow and heavy.
Slow and heavy, yes.
Yeah. So there is a lyric in that breakdown that kind of caught my attention when he's like, yeah, catalyst. And he says, give her a faith, I'm on fire with you.
Oh?
And I was like,
Give her Jesus? A faith? Jesus? Hallelujah?
As a Christian, that's how I hear that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the hard part is, though, with like Norma Jean and other bands that we love, is some of them are just so hard, and they're just so like ambiguous. Like you could totally think like give her a faith obviously means that, but then you read like what the band says about the song, and you're like, wait, what?
Well, that's just Corey.
True,
like his like artsy explanation of it.
Yeah, you can't get around that one, right? Give her a faith, I'm on fire with you, but it's not a capital U. I don't know. Either way, this breakdown freaking rocks, man.
Yeah, well, I don't exactly listen to Norma Jean for my worship music, but I do like the fact that Corey has said that he's a Christian.
Yes,
and I like to support musicians that share the same faith as me.
For sure.
Whether their music is explicitly glorifying God or not, I like to support people that share a faith with me.
Absolutely. I remember his interview on the Labeled podcast, and it's one of my favorites. Just like him talking about his whole like music experience and stuff, and it made me really become a fan of him as an artist and as a person, because it's pretty cool stuff. Like I really enjoy hearing about how he got into Norma Jean. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
super cool. But like it's just a rockin' song, and this album, like, it fits really well because it's a little bit different of a song on this album, but like it has all the pieces that we love so much about this album within this song.
Yeah, and I like lots of songs that kind of have the same energy. Demon Hunter has a few, like Gasoline. Yeah. There's one off of Summer of Darkness, I can't remember, where it's like, this like quiet thing, and then the chorus comes in and just punches you, and it's super heavy, and then it slows way back down. And I mean, it'd be boring if the entire album was filled with this, right? But it's kind of a palate cleanser on its own, which this album has a few. Those weird ambient tracks with no music. They're like 30 seconds long. They're literally put there because they're in between two songs that are just crazy. And if you just put these two crazy songs next to each other and listen to them back to back, they might drown each other out, and the importance of a song might be faded away. But I feel like this is not only a palate cleanser, but it's also like its own palate cleanser within the song. So you're like nice and slow, heavy. I love that stuff.
So, Gary, let's move on to the last song we're going to talk about on All Hail. And that song is Anna.
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 Okay. It's the last song we're going to talk about, and this song, and I'm not giving it away, don't look at me like that, ends on like a super, super high note. Like, if I'm like listening to this song, or just listening to the album, just going on a walk, and I listen to this entire album like I've done, thinking about this podcast, right? When this outro comes on, I'm jumping ahead. When the outro comes on, I have to like pull my phone out and like double check because it feels like a different song almost. Man, they just go so hard, and we'll get there. But before we get there, what are your thoughts on this song?
So, we've mentioned all episode that we've read this article that Corey Brandon wrote, like a paragraph about every song, and like I had no idea that this song Anna is about or dedicated to a girl named Anna, and it's basically a fan that's turned friend to him and his wife. And she basically passed away without him being able to reply to a message, her last message to him. So I think they went into the studio and they started with this album, or with this song on the album. And he said that he wanted to dedicate this song to her using a palindrome, right? That's how you say it.
Yeah. Yep.
So her name,
Palindrome.
Anna, A-N-N-A, switches, right? And they do have a lyric in there that's a palindrome, but I think it's only one, and he says like saying your everything to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he kind of hints at that he's trying to do that, and it's really hard to write. But
Yeah,
what I
I'm
really
sure it
liked,
is.
what I really liked about it is that Garrett Russell is the guest vocalist, and being that he's trying to do that with this song, Garrett Russell, Silent Planet, has a song called Redivider that the whole song is a palindrome. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's genius.
It's got to be tough to write that way. Like, it's got to
Yeah.
take so much intention and be creative. It's phenomenal. And these lyrics, like,
I can talk that way.
Go for it right now. Let's see it.
Talk can I?
Why use many word when few word do?
Do trick.
Do
Yeah.
trick. Like, talking about, like, thinking about what the song means and why it was written, you can feel the passion behind these lyrics. Like, when you're listening, man, yeah, it's phenomenal. Speaking of Garrett Russell, his part, when he's the vocalist, like, is awesome. And whenever he's a guest vocalist on anything, I make sure to listen to that song because it's always phenomenal. Whatever he's on, it's great.
Yeah, I always love it. Yep.
I think he has a couple with Sleeping Giant.
I like the one that he has with Those Who Fear.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's like a great song. And honestly, like, I'm being honest, I like Garrett Russell's guest appearances more than Silent Planet music itself.
More than Silent Planet.
Yep. I mean, I like Silent Planet.
Right.
I'm not like putting that down. I'm just saying.
But you just think his guest vocals are better than
when
the
he
band
when
itself.
he has a guest vocalist spot, that just shines on that song. Like, his part when he comes in, it's just like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And it definitely is here too. But it's not the best part of the song. Like, I love the chorus, man. The guitar, we've talked about this the entire episode. The tone of their guitars is just unreal. Like, it's really, I think, what makes this album, like, different. What made me fall in love with this album. The tone of the guitars. In the chorus for this song, the guitar is awesome. But I feel like we just keep talking about that because that's the entire album. And it's awesome. But the best part of this song has to be the outro, the breakdown.
Well, there's an outro after the breakdown that's very chill.
And that's not the best part. I'm talking about the breakdown.
Well, I'm going to rewind a little bit. So, there's these bridges between somewhat of a chorus. I don't really know if this song has a chorus. It's kind of a...
It has a whoa.
That's what I'm talking about. I love the
Whoa.
spooky ghost sound they do because they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know, and they do it a few times in the song to kind of build like a rhythm to like what they're doing. And then it ends with that, but instead of doing the ooh sound, they're like humming it. And it's just right after the breakdown, and it's just, I don't know, it just kind of makes you like feel like you just went for a ride, and the ride is over.
That is a great description. It's like you're on that roller coaster, that super crazy roller coaster. You've done your upside down. You've gone through all those tunnels. You're whipped. You're going side to side, and all of a sudden it slows down, and you get back to where you were. And you're like,
oh. You just hear the clanking again. Clank, 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 clank. Woo! We made it out alive. Yeah. So let's get to the part that you're really eager to get to.
Oh. My notes. I took a couple notes on this, and it literally just says breakdown. OMG. 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 Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Like, he might say, what, 5 words, 6 words in this breakdown?
Like 4.
4. And one of those words, I mean, it's the album name. He says all hail. Yeah. All hail. And the second time he says all hail, it is a banshee screaming hail.
This is insanely heavy. And then you just hear,
and you're off.
And you're like, okay, everybody, we're safe now.
Please keep your hands, feet inside the vehicle at all times.
Yeah,
man, that's great. And I think we would have attempted to scream the banshee hail part, but we can't. No. We can't, because he holds that thing out. You know, like Ryan Kirby. A Fit for a King, he's able to hold out those screams super long. Like, that's not this, right? But I mean, this is like something you hear and you're like, whoa. Like, you got a double take when he says all hail that second time, because it's unreal. It is so crazy and awesome. I can't get over it. Well, that wraps up this episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram. And we also are starting and launching our Patreon.
Whoop, whoop.
Let's go.
So this is our first time announcing Patreon.
Yes.
It's pretty exciting. I think it's going to be really cool doing this. Basically, you know, Tyler and I talk a lot in an episode, and we cut a lot of content out.
Yeah.
And what we do with that extra content before is, well, we threw it away. Now we're saving it, and we're putting it in our Patreon as bonus content.
More content coming your way, all-consuming podcast style. Let's go.
2021.
2021.
Thank you for listening.